Well, everybody, the topic for today has been we are our brother's keeper, aren't we? And continuing on that thing, we've got to acknowledge our next guest, continuing in a legacy. And I think that's a wonderful way to state it. Ladies and gentlemen, here's our second guest for the morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Lou Rawls Jr.
Yes.
Yeah, they like the pretty boys. Welcome, Lou. So good to have you.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming down. It's let me give you guys a little bit of an introduction. First of all, this man and a wonderful bio here is no stranger to the world of entertainment. Son of legendary music pioneer Lou Rawls, Lou Jr. has spent his entire life immersed in music. Adding his own swagger to timeless classics popularized by his father, Lou is currently working on an album. And I guess that's what he's here to talk about today, the release of his new project. Welcome, Lou, and
Thanks for having me.
it's great to hear. So you got a new project.
Yeah, actually it's Lou Rawls Jr. does the best of Lou Rawls.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm covering some of his greatest hits, as well as I'm working on some originals as well. I was in a band with Marvin Gaye's son.
Marvin Gaye the Third. Yes.
And we were called New Breed and Next Generation. We worked with Sturkin and Rogers, who did Rihanna's first record, Winston Seda, who did Maxi Priest,
Okay.
Soul Shock and Cutfather, who did Tupac. So it's two entirely different projects, but yet bringing the old style and the new style together and combining them.
Now, what gave you the idea to do this?
Well, the project with Marvin at the time, there was Wilson Phillips, the sons and daughters of the Mamas and the Papas, and there was the Nelsons, but there wasn't really any. This is before Levert.
Okay.
And a lot of the other sons and daughters, famous urban acts, if you will.
Right.
So at the time, we kind of filled this niche. We were signed to Capitol at the time. And unfortunately, just as we were in the process of doing the record, they dissolved the entire Black division.
Just your luck.
Yeah, just my luck.
There you go. Now I can hear you better, Lou.
So
Get a pull up closer to that mic.
what happened was,
There you go. I love that.
we were in the process of almost completing the project and found out that they had dissolved the entire division. And so I was like, well, my dad's gold and platinums are in the lobby. And they were like, well, Mr. Rawls, we're sorry that there's nothing we can do about it. So consequently, went through some personal issues that me and Marvin had. It just never came to fruition.
Right.
And so we kind of parted ways, and I got involved in other projects. And so kind of decided to revive that, if you will. And in the process of going through some issues with myself and my father and the family, kind of got diverted from my path, if you will.
Well, that's a hard one for everyone, and we got to acknowledge that, first of all, for anyone who has to come behind a legend. I think about that when I think about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's son. Even if you're especially talented, it's both a good and a bad in some ways. Certainly always a challenge.
Challenge would be a good word. That would be a good word. That would be a good way to put it. Yes. But it's all about the pressure you put on yourself. But actually, the situation was this: there's a public perception, if you will, that there's it's just easy. It's
right.
Given. It's just automatic. And on the contrary, there is more of an expectation especially when. If you didn't name me Bobby Rawls or Patrick Rawls, but no, it's Lou Rawls Jr. They're like, really? Show me what you
can't
got.
run from that.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I was Marvin Gaye the Third. So, it was, you walk in and they're like, there's like I said, there's a certain expectation, if you will, of a higher standard, and if in their mind that you don't reach it, that's where I feel potential is a bad word, because if you don't reach it, you're considered a failure.
Well, I come from a father who was a physician, and I always felt in many ways that same pressure to live up to him. But what makes it especially hard is that you have to start dealing with it at a very young age. Just about the time you're an adolescent, trying to be yourself,
Right.
which is hard enough for most of us, right? Just
Right.
dealing with being 13 and that whole thing, to have to suddenly realizing that people have these expectations of you.
Right, and as well as I come from an interracial background, so there was that social stigma, if you will. And so,
There's a picture of the
getting through that-
family.
Huh?
I think that we have a picture there of the family. I couldn't get a...
Yes, that's the night that my father had the United Negro College Fund telethon, where there was a tribute to him, and so yeah, that was actually the last time we were all together.
Wow, you got the big head there, Lou.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah, that was one of those nights. Yes.
Yeah, we did that. I'm getting my info back right now. I don't know what,
so,
but
yeah, it's versatile. Very versatile.
So tell us about your music. So did knowing that there were those expectations, did that make it harder for you to embrace your musical side? Because you could have went into architecture.
Right. Well, no, actually, I've always been entertainment grounded, if you will. I mean, I did some acting and some modeling.
Okay.
And I really didn't, I didn't really, the singing thing was kind of a fluke. I was down in Miami, working modeling and acting.
Okay.
And a guy came up to me in a club. I was promoting clubs down there, and asked me if I wanted to go in the studio. So I kind of, wanted to dabble, if you will, because I'd always done plays and choirs and things of that nature when I was younger. So we went in the studio, and it went really well for High Five. Anyway, I ended up writing 2 songs that went on there that went on to sell millions of copies of records. But in the production deal, I signed off my publishing, so I didn't see a check.
Oh, I get you. Well, that happens to so many artists. But so wait, Lou, you were writing, because that's another side, right? Besides just being a vocalist,
Right.
You penned some.
Absolutely. So, and that was my first experience, if you will, of the music business.
Yes.
Not being just brought up, being the son of someone famous.
Right.
But after going through that experience, that's when I found. My dad always used to say it's called show business.
That's right.
So after you kind of go through those experiences, and I'd watched him through his career go through numerous managers and bad decisions and the career's ups and downs and so on and so forth. So after you really get an understanding of where the way things are supposed to be done as opposed to the way things are done, it gives you a different perspective on how things really are. And then watching my dad and going through my own personal experiences in life, it just takes you through those.
So you're not bitter, Lou? I mean, or in terms of, how do you feel about the industry today?
Well, via the internet and social media for independent artists like ourselves, it's a great thing. It gives you an outlet, it gives you a chance to express yourself and expose yourself out into the masses, whereas opposed to, it used to kind of be a monopoly, if you will, in the industry through the labels. Now you can go out, do your own thing, and then they come back to you, based on what you do on your own merit, as opposed to, everyone's talented, and I don't hate on anybody, if you will.
Right.
I just want my shot at the title too.
Well, we want to see a Lou Rawls Jr. concert, in studio, maybe concert. Pack Stereo would love to be able to showcase that kind of thing. So tell me about this latest project. What brought you to your latest?
Well, I'm working on. My grandfather has a foundation called the Lou Rawls Foundation, which is for the empowerment of education. My father had the telethon for the United Negro College Fund. So basically, what I've done is I've started the Lou Rawls Jr. College Concert Series, which is going around and taking the same premise, which is giving back. Because you talked about Bill Gates, and he actually had donated 60,000 computers to the UNCF schools.
Wow.
So basically what I'm trying to do is continue on the legacy, but put my own little spin, my own little touch on it, if you will.
Okay.
And bringing artists, showcasing them around the world, if you will. And, utilizing some other big name acts that are already out there that are already kind of entrenched in the business. And for the betterment of education and, people in general. So we're working with various causes. My cousin Wanda, she's actually been to Haiti, right after they had the quake out there. And so we're just trying to, do what we can to continue on the legacy, if you will, and bring attention to causes such as hers as well, which I definitely want to work with her on. I'm very interested in that. Like I said, this is a tough act to follow.
Oh,
Between her beauty and her brain, you know what she's doing. I don't stand a chance, but that's okay.
I tell you what, there is this legacy, and we're going to come back and play some tracks, some of Lou's tracks. I wanted to show you a piece just to remind you, like we talked about, the legacy that he's continuing in, and the ground that was started again by his father. Here's a little piece that sort of gives everybody a reminder of the lineage, the legacy, the DNA, the blood that courses through this man's veins.
Please help me welcome Mr. Lou Rawls.
When I was 17, it was a very good year. It was a very good year.
I never really had any, what you would say, professional training as a singer or anything like that. Everything that I knew about it, I learned in the choir.
When I was 21, it was a very good year.
And then all of a sudden, I had 5 albums in the top 10 at once. I didn't know which way was up.
It was a very good year for big city girls that lived up the stairs. They had all of the perfume hair. Oh, and it came undone. And that's when I was 21.
When I did finally get in a position where I could, say, make a difference, I put myself in a position to where I could reach down and help and say, hey, here's a hand.
When I was 35, it was a very good year.
I had just made a deal, signed to be a spokesman for Anheuser-Busch, for Budweiser. And August Bush III, who's the chairman of the board at the time, said, Lou, you do a lot of charity work, so if there's something we can, help you out with, let me know. And I said, yeah, man, raising money to help kids get an education. But then I got on the phone myself. Frank, Sammy, and Dean, all 3 of them came on the show. And when all the other, the managers and agents heard that, they said, oh, they start calling up saying, listen, can we get on your telethon?
Those days grow short. It is the autumn of the years. And now I think about life as vintage wine from fine old kegs.
Tried to spread that love around. When they said, give me love, that's what it's all about. God gave his, now we give it back. We can't get nothing but good out of it. And that's what's happening. We give these kids a chance to prove themselves and be what they want to be. That just makes life better for us.
It was a very good year. It was very good. They are very good.
Wow. Like we said, continuing in a legacy, I gotta say, you continue with your old man's style. That cool. You got that. That shows, brother. You wear it well. So now tell us, again, with so much in your background, again, and so much legacy, it's wonderful that you're continuing, and we're so glad to hear about you continuing that series, that concert series. I would love to, if we can't get a chance, send us some information, whatever you need for us to put out the information.
Absolutely,
we would love to.
We're still in the process of putting that together right now. So it's been, there are a lot of foundations, there are a lot of causes, and we're just hoping to do the best we can to bring attention to very worthy causes that don't necessarily get the notoriety or the publicity, if you will, of the major powerhouse forces, if you will. Because a lot of people are out trying to do good for the community. They just don't have the funds or the access or the ability or the sponsors to get out there to the world to show what they're doing. Not that any cause is greater than or less than any other, but everyone deserves a shot to be recognized for the good they're trying to do.
Well, thank you, my brother. Thank you for continuing. Now, I got to get some focus because I am so interested in this product. You brought a couple tracks. Tell me what went into the production. You, songwriter, and artist.
This is some stuff. This is like a house lounge track that I did. And I wrote it, and it's coming out actually overseas. It's kind of a little different thing than what I do. My style is more R&B, urban.
Okay.
But it's got those kind of elements and tangibles in it as well. And one of them's called Do It For Love. And so,
Well, they got number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, well, just number 1. So
number 1?
We'll go with that for now.
Is there a story behind it, or just want to keep that?
Do It For Love.
All right, everybody. Let's see if my system here.
In the meantime, you just have to remind everybody you have an athlete in the house. I'm not gonna let you get away without telling people about that.
Okay.
Can you do it for love?
Oh, baby. Do you for love? Love the way you look, the way you smile, the way you do things, drive me wild. Touch and feeling all through the night. I'm gonna do you, baby, gonna do it right. Touching you, holding you, being your man, squeezing you, pleasing you like only I can. Everything that you need, I understand. Oh, baby, can you do it? Can you do it for love? Can you do it? Can you do it for love? Can you do it for love? When I first saw you, you were the one. And when you smiled at me, I was done. The way you moved on the floor made me want you so much more. You bring me higher, touching you, holding you, being your man, squeezing you, pleasing you like only I can. Everything that you need, I understand. Oh, baby. Don't hesitate. Can you do
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Everybody. Hey, wonderful. We know not what I expected, at least from that. That was grooving and so
you
that's me.
They got carried away.
You know, the brain is the second thing. But you know, that was grooving and sexy. Hot. That was a hot
Thank you.
vibe going there.
Yeah, it's a little departure from what I normally do. I guess my stuff's a little more urban, but it's just more or less show the versatility of what I can do. It kind of shows my range.
Now,
the highs and lows and the mids.
what about how was the process involved in doing this, Lou? What was the process in getting that track done?
Basically, the guy came to me with a track, and I wrote it in about 10 minutes.
You wrote the lyrics.
The lyrics, the melody and the lyrics.
Wow.
I mean, and all my songs are about love and relationships, sex.
Yeah, that'll work.
Pretty much what I go by.
And that also continues, not all, but many of the Rawls legacy is that it's cool love making music.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's I don't know. But, like I said, I've started a new production company called Lou Rawls Productions.
Okay.
I've got doing actually a biopic on my dad called Love Is a Hurting Thing.
Wow. And that's one of my favorite tracks by your dad.
Exactly. So I wrote that with my partners, Al Santos and Robert Egan, as well as Sam Cooke was my godfather. We're also doing
Sam Cooke was your godfather?
Yeah, we're doing a film on him as well. As well as, like I said, my Lou Rawls Productions with my partner Eric and Danny and Liz Scott.
Eric.
And so we got a bunch of things in the works, but right now my main focus and my goals are to to continue on the legacy of my father and put out some great work that the family can really be proud of.
Well, that's already. I can see that you're continuing on that track. Anything we would love to hear about those other projects. Anything now? Do we get to hear the second track here too?
It's not ready.
Not yet. Not ready yet.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not gonna leave you with that.
Well, we can say that there's more to come.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just I really appreciate the opportunity for you letting me to come on here and talk about what I'm doing. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of great causes out there. A lot of great people doing a lot of great work for the community. I just hope to be a part of that and do the best I can do and bring attention and awareness to the projects and causes that I want to be a part of.
Now, we understand that you've got some plans in store to increase your social media presence and stuff like that. We understand you've got some things coming with that.
Yeah.
Websites,
yeah. We're in the process of putting all of that together. There have been some how do I put this? Issues within the family,
right?
With name and likeness and copyrights and
okay.
such. So, I mean, actually, I'm Lou Rawls Jr. So,
right.
It's more of a internal situation with the previous wife.
Okay, I got you.
So it's really something I can't really get into, other than the fact of course, we're going to win in the end.
Well, it happens with Barry White, and it happened with a lot of the artists.
Yeah. So it's just, in the end we're going to win, but it's a process, it's a court, it's procedures, it's policies. And so in the end, of course, we know what the turnout's going to be, but it still doesn't take away, we have to go through the process to get to the end result. So that's kind of, where it's at right now.
Well, right on. First of all, we want to thank our guests. Man, this has been a hot Sippin' and Schmoozin' episode. Ladies and gentlemen, Lou Rawls Jr., everybody.